Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a new episode of Flesh Wound Farce, where we review and discuss your and sometimes none of our favorite movies. This is the world's first and only combination trivia host and professional wrestling announcer of Chilean descent that currently resides in Southern California, Ozzy V. And with me, as always, on this program, first in the Northern California Bay Area, world famous juggler Greg Larson. How you doing, Greg?
I'm swell. How about yourself, Ozzy?
I'm peachy. Todd, how are you?
I'm doing good. It's always a good week when we have an Aussie pick. And, happy Mother's Day to everyone yesterday. And this is our gift to you.
You know what? That's the funny thing, because I pushed off. I pushed against, pushed off, been against, whatever you want, whatever word you want to say.
Listen to your producer then, probably, huh?
Okay, so Mr. Mom comes up every year for Mother's Day. And it's like, I always like, well, maybe we should pick a movie that has some female leads in it, because if we're celebrating moms, maybe we have some people who are actually moms in a movie about moms. How about that? What I did not factor in is how someone can take a dump on a piece of paper and call it a script. That's what fascinated me. So can we just start this review? Did I get to you guys? You guys are good, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so this movie, Fun Mom Dinner, released on August 4th, 2017. Todd, do you have a trailer available?
Of course we do.
You know we don't do screens before school.
He took his diaper off!
Oh! One at a time, dudes.
He took my saber! Because it's mine!
You get to sleep at your daddy's house tonight, and Mommy gets some alone time. I know this is kind of last minute. We like to do these fun mom dinners. Wow, yeah, that would be really nice. Hi, ladies. Be okay if I invited Kate? Kate doesn't usually do stuff with us other moms.
Seriously? I'm babysitting tonight, so you can go out and have fun.
It's not babysitting when they're your kids.
I'm sorry, I didn't want to come alone. My life revolves around kids. I just wanted a night needed.
Oh, man. What should we talk about, Kate? What can I say? I'm mommed out. Melanie, I'm sorry. I know you don't like me.
My problem with you is that you walk around like you're too good.
You took my phone yesterday.
You were texting and driving.
I was buying milk. A mother can never run out of milk.
Order me a scotch. 3 fingers, 1 cube.
Moms, you're on.
Yeah.
Anything you want, we've got it. If we don't have it, we'll grow it.
We should set them up with our selection of stuff that's for mothers.
Yeah. Be cool if you didn't say anything, just because it's very illegal.
Sounds good. Yes, I'll take a little time.
Pay attention to the trailer, Ozzy.
Gotta text my hubby.
Oh, good idea. And I'll text Andrew and he can tell Tom.
We're locked out until Mom gets home. But the good news is, got candy. Lots of candy.
Where's Luke? He was here with my friend. Where'd they go?
Well, where does he live?
I can't.
Where does he live?
Can't say!
Dude, this is not good.
Never have I ever had real mom friends.
All right, that was a trailer for Fun Mom Dinner, written by Julie Rudd and directed by Althea Jones, starring Kate Aselton, Toni Collette, Bridget Everett, and Molly Shannon. Initial thoughts on this: I saw it starred Katie Aselton, and I was like, oh, the lead, that's fantastic. I saw it starred Toni Collette. She's a fantastic actress. Molly Shannon's cracked me up before. Let's see what we got. Those are my initial thoughts going in. I'm going to let you guys go first, and then you can tag me back in. Who wants to go first?
Oh, I'll go ahead, since you're in such a good mood. I mean, obviously, you already mentioned the league. We all know who Molly Shannon is. And Bridget Everett, I had seen at a sadly defunct comedy tour that it was a comedy fest that Comedy Central used to do, where they just had this big open area with several stages, and you could just walk wherever you wanted to go to see different, comedic acts or, panels on certain Comedy Central shows. It was fantastic. Clusterfest, I believe it was called.
Cluster is a fantastic word for this right now.
And I do have to say, Bridget Everett, she's an acquired taste. She's out there, and some things happened during the show that I was shocked were allowed to happen.
She pop out a booby.
Oh yeah, yep. So
he was kidding.
And no, that happened, and I think she might have rubbed it in someone's face too. So, but yeah, it was a interesting experience, and so knowing who was in this, I was interested to see where it went, and I'm sure I will have a different opinion than Ozzy. But yeah, it was. I didn't have a bad time with it.
Sometimes movies aren't just made for everyone, and this is definitely a movie made for women. So going and watching it, I kind of know that this isn't, aimed at me. I mean, it's a Nepo movie too. Doesn't hurt, it's Paul Rudd's wife, right? Who wrote it. So obviously why it got greenlit and why it was able to pull, so many stars that would normally be in a movie that comes out from Vertical.
Yeah. That's really unfortunate because, I've loved Paul Rudd and everything he's done. And I'm sure his wife is a fantastic person. I'm sure she donates to charity, uses her left and right turn indicators, is a true help to society. But I don't know what happened here because it started out a certain way. And it's like, okay, I got the sympathy going for them. Let's get them in some, okay, cool.
It's the cheating, isn't it?
What's that?
It's the cheating that makes you angry.
I'll
it
tell
is.
You why.
I do that.
I'll tell you why. And I'm built. Just let me get there.
Ozzy's thinking.
Let's jump in this car right now and go on this ride where we see them. Okay, they set off the smoke detector because they were smoking pot in a restaurant. Okay, and then them leaving and stopping to text. Okay, all right. What's next? Okay, they're at a bar. Okay, are the cops gonna come? What's happening? Karaoke. Why am I here? And she's flirting with the bartender. Okay, cool. She's having a good time. Why is she behind the bar? Why is she serving drinks? What is going on? And then, okay, yeah, let me walk with you alone. And then they go in this scene and they kiss, right? Emily's character, Kate, played by Katie Selton, they kiss with this Adam Levine looking guy. I want to use another descriptor, but I didn't want Todd to use the bleep. But
thank you.
Just how he kind of pushed things, and then when they actually kissed, and then he says something along the lines of, "It's okay, you're not taking it as bad as other married women," and then finishes with the line, "You should kiss your husband like that." Just made the whole thing seem like a sleaze. And I'm sorry, that just came out naturally. Todd, I'm sorry you got to use that bleep there, but
I didn't even catch it. That's how natural it was.
Okay, yeah. So, but then, okay, so moving on, then we get to the sentimentality, of the whole explanation as to why the cell phone was missing and just happened to be, I mean, part of me doesn't want to spoil it just in case there's people who want to watch it, but I mean, I'll leave that there just for those people. But
wait, why do you say Adam Levine looking guy?
Is that Adam Levine?
Yes. You made me
I didn't think he would do a movie that's stupid. That's why. That's why I thought it was just a knockoff guy. Because I'm sure the real Adam Levine was like, I'm not going to do this. And then they found a lookalike. And I was like, he wouldn't actually do this. He's actually got a job on the NBC show as a judge. He doesn't need crap like this. Apparently.
Toni Collette's an Oscar winner. I mean, just think of that.
That was phoning in just an easy check right there. But for him, I mean, it just to make him seem like a sleazebag. I don't know. How did he come off to you? Did he come off as sleazy? He came off to me as sleazy.
You're coming at it from a guy's perspective. This is a woman fantasy, so I don't think they're going to even think of it like we do.
You know what? And this is what ultimately pissed me off is because what movie is like this that came out however many years ago, and it has gotten now God, I can't believe it's coming up again. It is the female equivalent to Private School. That's what this movie is, because she She kisses the dude, and then she says, I'm going to tell him. I want this marriage to work. And then so we're thinking, okay, what's this going to look like? She's going to tell him. How is he going to react to this whole thing? The next shot we see of him is sitting, leaning him against his car. She goes to him. They kiss. She comes back with his keys to his Porsche. What? This is just as bad as a girl saying, I'm so sorry, I haven't been putting out. It's totally my fault that you snuck into the sorority to see a pair of tits because I won't open my legs. Let's have sex on the beach right now. It is the exact same thing. It's the female equivalent of that.
One's a male fantasy, Ozzy. The other's a female fantasy.
I know, and I'm being fair here. Because I ripped Private School to shreds, and everybody thought, oh, is he trying to be like a certain for women thing? No, I'm just trying to be for the side of making sense, because that was absolute crap. This belongs in the vein of Private School, joysticks, ski patrol, right back in there, except a lot less funny.
The thing about that, though, is it's very realistic because men and women.
Wait, what? Huh?
Men will ignore shit and simp, and the women will just be like, oh, but I love him, and just let it go too. So those actual events of those people letting it go is believable. May not be smart, but it's believable.
And to be fair, like, he was also not being the greatest in the relationship for a long period of time.
We're watching a comedy. We're not watching a drama. We're watching a comedy. Right?
Yeah, but this is stuff to stimulate women's brains.
In a way.
Yeah.
In a way. The fact that you have to say in a way is what's problematic here. You have a cast of incredibly talented people here. I mean, I know what you said about Bridget Everett, and this is my first time seeing her, whatever. But with the other three you got here, I was expecting something a little bit better, you know? And instead just to have a very similar ending to the theatrical cut of Born in East LA, where you see one thing happen here, then all of a sudden stuff's supposed to happen here, all of a sudden we're on a parade float. It doesn't make sense. So to see that, to plant that seed of like, I have to tell him what happened. I want our marriage to work. So in your head's like, okay, what's going to happen when she tells him? What is he going to say? Is he going to apologize for not being present? Because Greg, like you said, that theme was introduced through the movie because it was written by somebody's wife who was always out acting everywhere. Interesting. So we go here and we see this and we try to think, is she going to tell him now? Did they had the conversation? Why are they? Did she not tell him at all? He lent the keys to his Porsche for them to use to go on another one of these things. Like, that didn't make sense to me.
It's really funny because your whole take is one of the things that I appreciated about the movie is that I didn't feel it went with the standard trope of like, oh, the relationship's bad. She's going to find this new Prince Charming and move on and life's going to be better. Like sometimes in reality in life, like when you're in a relationship, especially a longer one, and they've been sweethearts since college, so they've been their first loves in a lot of ways, it can get stale. You can get caught up in the monotony of life and work and all these different things. So the fact that like, sure, they had some things that were getting screwed up because she was trying and working hard at it for a long time and he wasn't seeming to put in a lot, and then she makes a mistake that makes her go, you know what, crap, while he's also figuring out some stuff with his buddy. I actually appreciated that it was a moment where it was like, sometimes life isn't always clean cut and dry, and sometimes takes a little bit of work and some realization, I
don't want that in a comedy. I want to laugh. I want to laugh. And if you're going to drive the boat into a marina, no pun intended, that is all drama. Like, oh, I got to tell him I'm crying. I've never had friends like you guys. Like, this is why I liked Seinfeld. No sentimentality whatsoever. Just comedy. None of the save that stuff for Friends. All right. But this, like, I don't want any kind of this emotion stuff if you aren't going to follow through.
Well, that's like a you thing.
Comedy. What?
That seems like a you thing because most movies aren't specifically one exact drama. They have more to it to tell a story.
Yes. Tell a story. Actually tell the story. Don't omit parts of the story. And I'll be like, oh, we told you a story. No. What happened? I want to see that conversation. I want to see that. I want to see the resolution. I don't want to just see, did he just say like, okay, you kissed a guy, it's all my fault? Like, I don't know what happened. And here's the thing that pisses me off is a few weeks ago, I mentioned that we were talking like what else we're doing. And I was mentioning how I've been listening to the Curb Your Enthusiasm podcast hosted by Jeff Green and Susie Essman. And what's really interesting is that they're both very critical of the show when stuff doesn't work, which is refreshing because you don't always hear that all the time. Right. And one thing Jeff got into that kind of made me laugh a lot was he said, the one thing I can't stand in any comedy whatsoever is when you have fake crap, when stuff just looks so false, it's not believable, and it doesn't make sense. When stuff doesn't make sense, that's what drives me crazy. I'm like, oh, I can relate to that. That's my biggest problem here, is if I'm not asking for a longer version of this movie, but if you want to do this, and if you want to go down that road, don't just take that shortcut to the ending. Greg, I understand you said this is not like one of those typical tropes where this XYZ happens. Well, it is, because they just took out that end part and just threw it crap. They replaced it with crap. They took out that Jell-O pudding cup that's usually filled with chocolate, plain old chocolate, but it's still chocolate, and they put in a nice dump for you to eat. That's what I felt like watching this movie. Didn't it feel like a TV show? Anybody else? It felt like a 20-minute TV show that was just kept going. Like, why am I going to have all the sympathy for everybody if they're not even going to do anything really fun? Like, this came out 1 year. This came out 1 year after Bad Moms. Remember when we reviewed Bad Moms? We all loved Bad Moms. We thought Bad Moms was great. This came out 1 year after Bad Moms. Okay?
Yeah.
If this movie came out in 1995, maybe. I think maybe. But
I mean, it's not the first time a standard like type of story has been released, did well, and then people try to emulate it, and it's not as good, but it doesn't mean that
this isn't crap. But here's the thing. It's not that it's just not good. It's that it doesn't make sense. It was presented in a way that doesn't make sense. And that's what pisses me off.
That's because you don't have a woman's brain. It made sense to them. I don't know.
Okay, fine. But don't we want to try to get films produced for both genders? I mean, my anger for Private School is matched with my anger with this. This is a female version of Private School. I'm going to give it a 1 because there were some funny moments in it. And we just skipped over that whole thing. We just went right to my rant. I've been going off, I think, for the last 12 minutes on this thing. So I will say, this is my one note I wrote down: Private School for Women. That's what I wrote down. And exclamation points.
Well, now you just raised my rating.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Actually, you know what? Here's the thing that really upset me, and maybe this will actually raise your rating a little bit more, is that I watched this and I thought to myself, if Dan watches this movie, Dan and I will have the same opinion.
I think you're right.
Congratulations, universe. You win. So my favorite
Dan,
moments were actually all in the
give us
beginning.
your updates in the comments.
Yeah, okay. I have a feeling it's probably going to be the same, like not too different, but it's very bizarre, and there's just a big hole at the end. And I guess in terms of my favorite moments, it was all in the beginning. They're all in the trailers. The funniest moments were all in the trailers. And I mean, I just did my initial thoughts, my funniest moments, and my score in one long tangent. So I'm going to let you guys take over for a little bit. Who wants to go first? You could do your initial thoughts, and I'll just play host for the rest of the episode.
All right, Greg. I thought we did those. But...
Yeah, we did.
Oh, did we? Okay. Go in your favorite moments.
So my favorite moment, I don't know if it was as intended, but I got these really nice new headphones that I was watching this movie with that amplifies the bass. And in the trailer, you actually see this scene where Bridget Everett's in this like onesie and jumps into the water. But there's this like very bassy noise that kind of happens. And with these headphones, it almost emulated like a whale noise, which made me laugh considering the situation. I don't think that was what was intended, but it made me giggle because of that.
All right, so I just want to clarify, for the record's sake, and I just want to make sure I got this straight. Your favorite part of this movie was more of a sound bit that was due to your headphones, more than anything in the movie.
I have others that were great, but
that's the one you went with. That was the one you went with. Yeah, I just wanted to point that out.
Now I feel judged about the one I'm going to go with because it's.
I'm just curious. What is it? No, I want just your natural. Your natural reaction.
The part that made me laugh the most was how proud and pressed and how proud and impressed the dads were that they got the baby to go to sleep in the swing. Just
Yeah.
that dad pride when they like it was any kind of accomplishment, but whatever.
Okay, so the movie is called
And
Fun
something-
Mom Dinner.
And by the way, Todd, something that they could have avoided had they just listened and had the green blanket.
Yep.
And everything would be fine.
But then you wouldn't have a movie. Then there'd be no movie, right?
At least that bit.
But I just want to clarify something, Todd. Out of the whole movie, your
No, that's the
favorite
bit I
scene-
chose to highlight. There was other
and
funny
the
scenes
bit you
throughout.
chose to highlight. Something in your brain said,
okay, you want me to go?
I picked this moment because the rest of the movie is crap. That's why. I'm just
That's
telling
not-
you what you're really trying to say,
No, that's
and
not
you don't
what I'm
want to
trying to
agree
say.
with me. That's
Don't
why.
put words into my mouth, Ozzy, because I had fun with the movie. I also know the movie's not made for me. So I'm able to look at it like, okay, this is like made for women, but there's still funny parts in there that I could laugh at. I like the cast, like all four of the women. So it's just like a dumb. No,
It's
well,
a
not
private
as hard.
school. No, it's
Well,
a
no,
private school.
it's there. It's like a.
It's a
It's
private
almost
school.
like it's almost it's almost like a sex comedy for middle-aged women.
minus the sex.
Yeah. So it's that style of comedy though. Like Superbad was a teen sex comedy without the sex also.
Yeah, but you
So-
had a little bit more.
But my
intense
point
moments
is,
happen.
and it's going to be lighter for women, so it makes sense. So it was
Wait
fine.
a second. Did you just say stuff needs to be lighter for it to make sense to women?
No. It's going to be lighter in the sexual content for
Oh.
the women on this type of movie. It's not. They're not all trying to flick their bean on friggin' 50 Shades. So it's a different kind of movie, different for women.
How is that different from Bad Moms?
It's not, but I mean, all that's just all goes back to Bride.
Just for the record, I loved Bad Moms, even though it wasn't written for me.
I'm not saying that, but some stuff is more focused than women. Some stuff is more appealing.
It seems kind of generalized and surface to a degree, stereotypical, almost borrowing Greg to a trope of them all just crying because they all found friends. I mean,
Did you watch this with your fiance?
no, I didn't. She actually
that was
saw
my
I'd be
the.
interested to get her.
Oh no! I
opinion.
told her
You
what I
should
told
watch
her.
it
What,
again
no,
with
I
her.
told her exactly what happened. I told her everything that happened in the movie, and she's
Mm.
like, "Thank you for not watching that with me." And actually,
I
that
think you tainted the movie.
Yeah, I was gonna say with Ozzy screaming how bad it was, no one's been like, "Oh, well, that sounds like a good movie. I gotta watch."
Yeah.
okay, all right. If because it was after that where she
If
said
Ozzy would have said, "I showed her the trailer," and she was like, "Oh, hell no," that
she watched the beginning with me. She watched the beginning with me, and she, as soon as the title screen said, "I'm out," like
Okay.
because that followed the poop in the mouth, and she's like, "I don't need this," and she left.
That was funny.
That's the most
I
like
laughed.
guy
That's
humor.
written that's the most
Yeah.
guy humor. Exactly, you said it. That is the most guy humor.
So
thing.
maybe if she would
and I
have
thought
stuck
this was written
around,
for women, though.
Right.
That's the confusing thing.
well, they had to
Be
keep us.
consistent.
They had to keep us from leaving the theater for the
That's
first.
right.
She's just auditioning for like Grey's Anatomy as a writer for them. This honestly, I mean, and in all seriousness, I genuinely felt this felt like a TV movie or like a TV show that was extended, like an extended TV episode, because there was no it felt like bland and shallow and just generic. There was nothing special about this movie.
I mean, I
And
didn't
No,
add
agree
it
with
with
the
that.
fact-
it has that sitcom feel. I will give it
Yeah.
that.
But it I mean,
it's a low budget
Ted-
film. It is what
Ted
it is.
kind of had a sitcom feel, but there was still like it still was a movie. Like there was a feeling that it was a movie. With this, it felt like okay, everything's been resolved in like 30 minutes, really, if you think about it. Like they're out having a good time. If she doesn't go out with that guy and she just spends the rest of the night in the bar, them having karaoke, they just go home and everybody's happy.
But then
like-
it's not a movie.
That's because there's no fucking movie there. It's a TV show that somebody picked up off the ground.
So
or
it's like a
maybe down the
series of
toilet, or down
it's a
the trash,
series-
and it's like, let me add this crap to it. Oh, this is fine.
So it's a series of bits that just go together.
All right, what are your guys' scores? I already gave mine. Go.
Greg,
You want me to leave the room so I won't hear
No,
what
I
you
mean,
got? What I won't. Okay, how about
I'm
this?
not trying
I'll keep
to-
my mouth shut I will not say anything about your scores.
Wow. This is like a treasured moment.
I know.
Like
It's the first
I want
moment
to
of
bask
silence.
in it. This is wonderful. So I wouldn't say this is a great movie. I'm not trying to defend this as a great movie or anything. Did I enjoy the ride? Sure. It had its moments. So I do think I'd share it with certain people who might appreciate it a little bit more, and I did like some of the different messaging. I did feel certain scenes weren't necessary. The entire weed shop scene I thought was a segment that didn't need to be in there.
Oh,
Even
but
though
we know why it was there.
Yeah, gotta get the
to
husband
Paul
in
Rudd
there.
in it.
Well, you know.
Yeah.
Hey, honey. I'm gonna be honest. What I wrote is really, really bad. Would you mind if I wrote a scene for you so it could be just a little bit better?
I'm sure that's not what she said to her husband,
Yeah.
but this
Maybe
is
not
her
those words.
This is her only writing.
Remember
credit,
that time
you know?
Ozzy said he was going to be
Interesting.
quiet?
Dang it! Fine. You know what? Maybe I should just do this. I can't hear anything you're saying right now. I can't hear anything.
Oh man, Raiders.
No, actually, I
sucked
can still
so
hear.
bad.
I can
This
still
is
hear. I'm gonna
great.
turn off. I'm gonna turn off my headphones.
Todd, you're muted.
There we go. I literally can't hear you at all.
All right.
Nothing.
Perfect.
Well,
We
good.
couldn't
I'm
hear
gonna put
Todd
my
either.
hand up.
So let me know. Give me a thumbs up when you guys are ready for me to turn my volume back on. 'cause I'm
Okay,
out.
so I'm gonna. You want to both put our hands up as fives and freak him out?
Yeah.
See,
So,
I'm gonna do that.
I mean, that's fair.
Now
No,
he's
you're
gonna
such a
think I
liar.
said
You're
five.
such a
but
liar.
that's funny.
Even when he
If
can't
you didn't throw
hear,
your hand in front of the camera, I wouldn't have said anything. But you had to be Todd.
Ozzy can't keep his word. Maybe
I
he
know.
needs to watch
But what do you
Rock.
rate it?
But I give this movie a 2.5. It's not great. It's not bad. It's a fun watch, but it definitely needed some more working through.
Yeah, I'm a little. I was going back and forth to 2.5 and a 3. I'm going to
Yeah.
be generous because it's an indie film, and I don't mind that. I mean, it like the 16 Candles references. I get it. This is made
Right.
like that alone should tell you who it's made for.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
the girls who loved that movie and grew up. So I don't have a problem with it. Ozzy's just Ozzy. So yeah, I'm a 3 out of 5. So I'm a 3 out of 5. So should we? Are we ready to have him come back?
Okay.
All right.
Can I
Turn
go?
it-
Can I come
yeah.
back? You didn't really rate it a 5.
Just because I was what are you talking about?
He said
What did you rate
5.
it? I just no. You threw your hand in the air. What did you
No,
rate it?
he said 5.
I did say 5.
You know, for all I know, you guys could have easily been like, okay, so Ozzy is listening to it. My actual score is like a 3, but I'm gonna hold my hand up in the air, and when his volume comes
No,
back, we're just
he
gonna
said 5. He said
we're
the
gonna
number
find
5.
out on May 12th when this airs.
You
and then I'll
will.
find out
You're
for
not
sure.
going to find out what we rated it until you watch the episode back. That's all you know. You chose to.
I will
eliminate-
say, okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
You
Go
chose
ahead.
to eliminate yourself from our rating process, so you don't get the joy that our beautiful listeners do to get our ratings, unless you watch this when it airs.
There was a time not too long ago. I can't remember what it was. We reviewed, but Greg put on the entire episode that he hated the movie. And
Okay,
you
that's fun.
and I was freaking out. Todd, you were in on it, so you knew what was going on.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe anything Greg was saying. I think it was one of the
Do you remember what it was?
Remember. It was one of the Will Ferrell movies, I think, or the Seth Rogen movies.
Was it Old School?
It might have been Old
Might
School.
have been Old School. Yeah.
But when we reviewed Old School, Greg was talking about how he hated the movie and it wasn't that great. And like, what are you talking? Like, I was getting worked up. And at the very, very end, at the credits, we come back and Greg, it was just a kid. I was just kidding around to mess with Ozzy. I love this movie. 5 stars from me. And then we head out for the evening. So I don't know if this is happening right now, where you know, like we're gonna head out and be like,
We both
yeah.
gave our honest ratings on the show. I can tell you that 100%.
And
Did your
I can
hand
tell you,
match
he
your
said-
rating?
I promise you, Ozzy, he said 5.
Mm.
Hmm.
Mm.
What, Greg? What did you gave it? I'm not going to say anything. I'm just curious. What'd you give it?
You
gave it-
chose to exit for the.
I chose to
rating.
exit because I didn't want to say anything about your scores. while you were giving your
now
review.
but
I was
now
giving
you
the
want us to
respect
tell
that.
you can
I've
say
given you the
something about our
platform.
scores.
I've given you the
So
platform to
doesn't
say whatever you wanted to say. I just want to know what happened. What I miss.
I gave it something that you will find out when you get to watch the video when it drops.
Yeah, because I thought the whole point of you not listening was so we wouldn't be berated for giving our honest feelings of it. But now you still want
No,
to do it.
that is incorrect. The reason I turned my headphones all the way down is I did not want to interrupt you guys while you were doing your reviews, while you were giving your final scores.
Still did while we were doing.
Well, it's because I was like this, and you're like, I'm like, what am I supposed to do? That's why I turned to the side over here. I was looking here, but I needed to make sure I had an eye here to make sure I was okay to put my volume back up.
It sounds like a lot of work just for us to get yelled at for our choices.
Can't open your Christmas presents early, Ozzy. Sorry.
Should have watched Popeye. I think that was my original pick.
Okay, next year, Mr. Mom. Done.
All right, finally,
we've
we've been pushing that
Mr.
for
Mom
day
next
one.
year. Mother's Day 2026, Flash Wound Farce. Mr. Mom. Done. I'm not
unless they make a new Bad Moms movie, but I think we're safe.
I think we're good.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
I'm glad this is over. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the review of Fun Mom Dinner. You could try checking out a stream, but honestly, don't. Just my personal opinion. Just me.
I think
Greg and Todd say you should.
TV.
I'm saying if you enjoyed Private School, go for it.
See, I'm going to strongly disagree with that because I think a lot of our listeners who do love Private School, who wanted you removed from the show for your disrespect of it. But other than that, like, I don't think those guys are going to be like, ooh, Fun Mom's Dinner. Yeah, that was.
I will say, but don't you think, hold on a second. Don't you think it's me being fair to berate another film that I find similar in the same vein?
Oh, no, I get your logic.
But
I get your logic and your reasons why on both. I just don't think that's going to equal. Like you said, Dan's going to hate it. Dan would agree with you. Dan is the public or the Private School audience. So therefore, because he like that, he should like that. Goes against what
I'm sorry, let me rephrase. If you like movies that don't make sense toward the end, you're going to love this movie.
Okay.
Done. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this concludes our review of Fun Mom Dinner. Go check it out if you want. Greg and Todd say you should if you like that kind of thing. I'm saying avoid at all costs.
I'm surprised with how much you gave a glowing review that you're saying avoid at all costs.
I give it a 1, Greg. A 1. And that's only because Rob Hubel is funny. He played Kate, Toni Collette's wife. Yeah. He was the one that had the idea for the swinging chair. He's generally a funny actor in anything he's in.
He is.
In the league, he played the sex offender that wasn't turned on by Jenny, but got turned on by like pieces of fruit. So
it was a great bit.
Yeah. And it takes me to reference the league to put me back in a good mood after talking about this movie. Just a point of clarification, a little point of emphasis there.
I think it's time I need to rewatch that. I haven't watched the league.
Yes, you should. Everybody should. I mean, hey, watch something that Katie Selton has a quality product that she's in, that being the league. I mean, even if you liked Fun Mom Dinner, I would say the league is a little bit better than Fun Mom Dinner.
I'd agree.
There we go. Okay, we agree on something, and we're going to use that common ground to head out.
Fantasy football show geared towards men. You think you might like that more than this? Shocker!
You know, I've known plenty of women that have enjoyed the league.
Oh, I don't
even follow football.
I don't follow football or fantasy football, and I liked it. So, but my point is, one is definitely more aimed at a male audience.
Yeah, and
one is right up your alley.
The female audience. And what I mean, whatever. We're done with this movie. I'm done with this movie. I'm glad I never have to watch it again.
Every Mother's Day, gotta watch it.
No, I'm done. I'm so glad I'm done watching it. I'm so glad I'm done talking about it. The
only thing I'm sad about is that Paul Rudd's wife only made one movie, so we don't have anything to threaten Ozzy with in the future.
Oh,
yeah. Okay, I gotta go. All right, we're done here, ladies and gentlemen. If you're being in the Orange County area this week, I'll be at the Rush Barn Grill this Tuesday at Lake Forest, beginning at 7:00, and at the brewery in Placentia, beginning at 7:00. As always, free to play and prizes for the top winning teams. Come on out and have some fun. Do you guys have anything else before you head out for the evening?
Bonus points if you title your team name after this movie.
Oh my God, I will take points away. Ladies and gentlemen, for Flesh Wound producer Todd and world famous juggler Greg Larson, I'm Ozzy V. We'll see you next week right here on a brand new episode of Flesh Wound Farce.